Greetings from Paha Sapa, also known as the Black Hills, the center of all that is and the place where the Lakota people come to pray for the state of the world. Stan Jabalisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor, located in the town of Lead, South Dakota, L-E-A-D, right in the heart of the Black Hills. What I like to do here is go through a few of the indicators on the display of my radio, which you will have seen a lot of if you've watched my band watch videos. I would just like to say a few words of praise for this old IC-746 Pro Icom radio. Covers all the way from 30 kilohertz receiving up through about 170 megahertz or thereabouts. So it covers all of the ham bands, 160 meters through 2 meters. I don't know about 60 meters, that series of channels around 5 megahertz. I don't know if it will operate there or not. I don't think so, but this is a 10-year-old or more than 10-year-old radio. What you're listening to right now is phase shift keying on 14 megahertz, and what I really like, one of the features I really like about this radio, besides the fact that it is performed flawlessly without any glitches for over 10 years, reliably, is the large and easy to read frequency display. Some of these radios don't have a very good frequency display. The S meter is easy to read. Now, right now, we've got noise approaching S9. What I'd like to do now is go to CW mode. Now, notice the filter bandwidth is right there. These are SSB filters, and you can adjust the bandwidth. You can set it, but you kind of have to get into the instruction manual and learn how to program it. But once you've got them set, you can hit a button and change it. This is the 2.7K that I use for SSB voice reception. 1.5K I use for phase shift keying reception. And then 50 Hertz I use also for phase shift keying reception to zero in on a signal. And I have it set for a center frequency of 1500 Hertz and the narrowest bandwidth 50 Hertz. This little BW down there, it tells you the band width, 50 Hertz. Then it'll tell you 2.6K it says here, 2.7K it says here. That's probably the difference between the top and the extreme attenuation at the bottom there. Sharp refers to the steepness of the skirts, and I always set them at sharp if I can, because I like that kind of a response the best. You can go to CW and set 3 different filter bandwidths as well, and I have 500 Hertz, 250 Hertz, 100 Hertz, all of them sharp. And this little thing here kind of shows you an indicator of what the response actually looks like. FIL means filter. Now there's a whole bunch of other functions here. Menu. You can, all sorts of things. You can adjust the AGC speed. You have all sorts of functions here, and I don't really look at them very often, to tell you the truth. I really don't. All I do is basically just operate the radio on CW. I'm a CW nut. Vox, well, that indicates that Vox would be functional if we were in SSB mode. Break-in, that is semi-break-in. I'd like to show you what that sounds like, so I'm going to just asking if the frequency is in use. That is semi break-in. That's really not full break-in. But you do have a little button you can push. Now you got full break-in. That's what this little F there means. And it's pretty good too. So that's pretty cool. Now, when you switch that button off, the thing won't transmit at all, even if you key. You can hear me keying there. Hear that? We'll go up to a band where it's a little quieter. Okay, so that's that. All right. Now, there are an awful lot of other features here that I don't use, and so this isn't really exactly a full-scale lesson on this display. It's just sort of shows you how easy to read it is. Now 1/4 indicates the tuning rate. You can adjust that faster or slower. 2, next to that little antenna symbol, refers to antenna number 2. There are 2 antenna outputs here on this radio. Tune. Well, that means you can tune you can hit a tune button and tune the radio up. It takes about 2 seconds, and it'll match an awful lot of severe mismatches. This radio will. For example, let's go to 18 megahertz. I'm going to hit the tuner. Note the SWR. Well, I've got to get back into break-in mode or semi-break-in. Note the SWR that shows up as I transmit. Note the power output. $10 it's kind of a non-linear scale there, but about 10 watts, that's what my SWR power indicator external meter indicates, but it also indicates a 5-to-1 standing wave ratio on the 5-to-1 standing wave ratio on the transmission line, and yet this thing will match that without the aid of any kind of external antenna tuners. So they say it'll work into up to 2 or 3-to-1. It's really quite a lot better than that. So this is really a really nice versatile radio, relatively easy to operate. P-amp, that is pre-amplifier. You can set it for an off or 1 or 2, where 2 is maximum. And actually, you turn it off. There's 1. There's 2. I usually use the 2 setting. There's the AGC. That's how fast the receive AGC, automatic gain control, recovery time is. Medium. NB, that's noise blanker. That means the noise blanker is on. There again, there's your SWR. The power output meter is, the S meter in receive turns into a power output meter on transmit. I don't know what the heck blank means. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, that's sick or what? Okay, so anyway, that's the basics of this display as I use it on CW operation. I'm used to old-fashioned radios, you know, where you could just get on there and tune the thing up and start transmitting and having contacts without having to learn how to be a computer programmer. But nowadays, you know, these radios can do an awful lot more stuff, but you have to learn all the buttons and bells and whistles, and you have to have the manual around all the time, because there's no way you're ever going to remember all that stuff, or at least no way I am. So, that'll just about do it from here, the Black Hills of South Dakota, United States of America, also known as Pahasapa to the Lakota Native American people who hold this land sacred, come here to pray for the state of the world, including me, I'm sure, and you. Until next time, I'll tell you 73, look for a radio like this with features like this and a display that's easy to read like this. Icom makes a bunch of good radios. That much I can attest. So long.